Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with the Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity episode number 6 reaction. Alright, the previous episode we got to see all the friends of Rintaro realize that Rintaro is meeting with Kaoru. Saku took it the most seriously and he was like, oh, you want to talk about it? And Rintaro was like, no, I don't want to. So they had a little bit of a, situation. Both of them are not talking to each other. But in the end, all the other friends, the other two, they told Saku that at least Rintaro has admitted there is something and someone that he's, like talking to. Instead of trying to hide it or tiptoe around it, he's at least comfortable enough to tell us that he doesn't want to talk about it. That's progress in itself. So let's give him a little bit more time. He'll surely tell us. you know so yeah, that's what happened over there. Then we had Rintaro meet Kaoru. Like obviously Rintaro has passed, so you know Kaoru like congratulated him and everything. His mom was even surprised to know that he passed and all that. Right. And all of those things happened, and then in the end Subaru called Kaoru, and now Subaru's telling Kaoru about when she called Rintaro and asked him not to talk to interact with Kaoru. So I'm guessing she's going to talk about that. So let's see what happens. Let us begin. I'll be putting the subtitles and a timer here. Sync it to whichever is a preference, and let's begin. Okay, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, flower petals. Oh. Ah. Oh. Bats. Oh, damn. Oh, here we are. Huh. Oh, here we go. Hmm. Damn. Yeah, he was. She was expecting her to. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, unless you admit to it, yeah, you'll be blaming yourself. And damn the rust. Hmm. Ah, yeah, the bars. Well, because if you fall now, you're gonna break your neck, unlike when you were a kid. Hey! Oh my god! What is she doing? uh, hmm. 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 Yeah. Yep. Hmm. Oh, yep, that was coming. Hmm. Hmm. Oh. Hmm. What? I want to talk to you about something. Right. He's thinking about talking about it. Well, I think she's gonna come here with Subaru. Subaru's there with her, so. Oh, well, okay. Oh. Right. Well, she's here. There we go. He's like, wait a minute. I wasn't. I need to prepare my lines. I need at least 10 minutes. You cannot put me on the spot. Okay, here we go. Hmm. Yeah, I think this is this. Oh, well, yeah, he's right. The uniforms. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. uh, well, I guess it just have to, you know, make sure that nobody in the other school gets to know, right? Mm. Yeah. Well, everything. Oh, no, 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 not everything. Well, I guess yeah. Yeah, there you go. I was literally saying, just don't, meet her near school. That's it. Oh my God, what the hell? Yeah, how strong did you? Oh, oh yeah, bruh. Oh boy. Self-loathing. Right. Okay. Well, now only I guess we have to clear up the whole thing with um his friends. Hmm. Okay. And there you go. That was episode number um 6, right? Yeah. Okay, that was episode number 6. So today's episode was Kaoruko talking with Subaru, Subaru telling everything to Kaoruko, apologizing, Kaoruko telling her that it's okay, and then Rintaro contacting Kaoruko to talk to Subaru, and then Subaru talking to Rintaro, and you know, them also, kind of talking and making things okay. So that was basically today's episode. And today's episode, we see a little bit more of the whole dynamic between Subaru and Karuko, and back when they were kids, how like we already saw that before. The interaction between Karuko and Subaru when they were kids. When Subaru was being harassed, Karuko came and like stood up for her. Those scenes we already saw that, but we saw it in a little bit better way today, where we saw like the same scene, but how Subaru after that, how Subaru felt after that, seeing Kaoruko like defend her, how she was like her only friend, and how wanting to become like her, she like started like like increasing her hair length and everything. She said like she was seeing Kaoruko, she kind of copied like her style and everything. And the reason behind that obviously is because she wanted to become like her, like because she looked up to her. So yeah, but there's one thing that she still hasn't been able to do, which she mentions today multiple times, which is she still hasn't been able to forgive herself, not forgive I would say, but be like have respect for herself, like self-respect or self-love as they say. She still hasn't been able to like emulate that from Kaoruko, because as you can see Kaoruko very much respects and loves Subaru, and she's trying to kind of emulate her because she looks up to her, but that's the only one thing she hasn't been able to emulate, which is loving herself, or having respect for herself. But as she says that hopefully in the future, when I am able to like look myself in the eye and like respect myself and love myself, maybe then like I will be able to become friends with Rintaro and stand like proudly side by side beside Karuko. Right. And yeah, and there you go, and that was basically like the today's episode. So today's episode, as we see, as in the title as well, we can see, is mainly like kind of revolves around the whole self-respect and self, like love, like theme, where you can see, even though Karuko says that, oh, like don't worry, everything is fine. Um, Subaru thinks about what she has done, how she has made Kauruko's life more towards the bad, has pushed her life towards the bad parts, and how she is not helping her in any way but making her situation worse by taking these decisions, and how she cannot forgive herself for that. Like that is the main thing. But you can see Karuko tells here that why are you thinking in that way? Like just think about it in a different way. For example, back when we were kids, when I used to like hang on the monkey bars, I fell down and I almost broke my neck. And at that time, instead of like scolding me or telling me like like why did you do that, why didn't you listen to me, and saying stuff like that, you obviously, she started crying, number one. Then she said like, oh, give the pain to me. And these things shows how much because in that situation it was pretty normal if you got angry at me. It would have been completely fine and completely normal, because I was the one who was taking these reckless decisions of like just doing these type of things, like these type of dangerous things. I fell down, I got a result of my actions, you know, and instead of like scolding me or telling me, you said that, oh, like give that pain to me. That kind of shows how kind you are. And this whole situation with Rintaro is a very similar to that as well. I was the one who didn't think enough, and I was just standing in front of the school. Like I should have been the one to think about it and kind of use my common sense and realize that, oh, you know what, the Chidori and the Kikyo are at each other's throats. Maybe it's not a good idea if I just go stand in front of their gate and let the whole world know that, oh, I'm waiting for her. Instead of doing that, I should have like thought about it and met him somewhere else. you know so, and it's completely fine if you got angry at me at that, but instead you're blaming yourself by thinking that when you went to Rintaro and talked to him about it, you're blaming yourself and you're thinking you are messing up my things. But in reality, I should have been the one to be more cautious about it. So again, you are taking it on yourself. So that is kindness, and yeah, I actually agree with Kaoruko. Like she is not wrong technically, because as she says that she if she was a little bit more careful, none of this would have happened. You know, and the fact that Subaru is taking it on herself just because she wants to make sure that everything is okay with Kaoruko, like so that the teachers don't harass her and everything. She's doing all of that for her, and she's still thinking that she's the one who's messing up her thing. So that's not true. You're doing this for me. You're doing this for my, like so that nothing happens to me, and you're taking the blame on yourself. So that is what kindness is. And yeah. So at the end of the day, as Karuko says, that you should think about it like this, and here Subaru is like, I cannot think of it like that because I hate myself. And when you do not like yourself or you hate yourself, and because you can see in today's episode multiple times, not only today's episode, in the previous episodes as well, she has a very, like, very, what can I say? Like, she doesn't look at herself in a positive light, which is always why she always blames herself for things, and that shows her lack of self, I guess you could say, self-esteem, or like having the basic amount of love for yourself. She lacks that, and that is why when Kaoruko said all of that, she's like, but I can never see it like that. I'll always blame myself. So the day I'm able to love myself and look at it like this, on that day I'll probably be worthy enough to stand side by side beside Kaoruko and keep moving. So yeah, like, and it'll surely happen. It'll be a gradual process, but little by little, she'll be able to do that as well. Hopefully she's able to think better about herself. And you know what, I feel like the way you can have a better opinion about yourself is when you interact with others and have more friends. Like, obviously Karuko is there, but like, I think, like, if she has like more people that she interacts with and everything, that'll help her case. So this whole thing of her getting acquainted with Rintaro, and maybe in the future, the other guys, like him, like she'll probably get interact, like acquainted with them as well, because the opening song literally shows that. So I feel like that is like a good way of kind of getting more self-esteem and like understanding yourself better, because like all alone, I don't know, like, I think on your own your world is very small. when you interact with people, talk with people, your world broadens. You can understand others, and and this, I don't know, like interacting with people and everything will make you appreciate a lot of things, and that will automatically make you appreciate yourself as well, like something like that. So in your lonesome, you always are with yourself. You think about yourself only, you think about a lot of other things, you think about a lot of different things which you shouldn't even think about, you know so having a lot of people, not a lot of people, but at least like a sizable amount of people that you know and you talk with, it'll broaden your horizon, and it'll, I don't know, make you more confident. And the more confident you become, the more you'll be able to accept yourself. Yeah, so I'm sure this will happen little by little. And right. And then the other, that was the first part, and then the final part was Rintaro coming and talking to Subaru, and Subaru realizing that, oh, wait a minute, this guy is almost the same as Waguri, like he's as nice as her. And yeah, she accepted the whole, she accepted him as someone who likes Waguri, or someone who Waguri likes. Obviously, she doesn't know like if Rintaro likes Waguri or not, obviously, but Waguri has admitted to her that she likes him. So as as that, she was able to accept him, and in the end, she was also able to say that, okay, like in the future, hopefully, we are also able to interact with each other as friends. But again, as she said, like that won't happen unless and until I start having more confidence in myself and start loving myself. After that, like, yeah, surely. So like, there you go, good thing, like we at least we cleared up this part of the whole misunderstanding, I guess. Yeah, and now Rintaro will have to talk to his friends, especially Saku, and clear it up with them. So I'm guessing hopefully that happens next episode. Right. Okay. I think that was it. That was today's episode. Basically. Uh oh, one thing I wasn't expecting, which was Waguri actually admitting that, oh, like, I like him. You know, he she actually said that. Like, I don't know. I thought like she was going to say something like, oh yeah, I like him, but I'm not sure if this is actually, like love in that way, or maybe I just like him. So I thought it was going to be something like that, but she like directly said that, oh yeah, I like him, which I wasn't expecting genuinely, like because I don't know, I feel like it's a bit too fast for her to just admit. Well, obviously she didn't admit it in front of Rintaro. That'll probably happen way later, or I'm not sure if it's ever going to happen as quickly as I expect, because a lot of rom-coms just love dragging the whole thing and keeps the status quo alive up until like the final season or whatever. So I'm not sure if this show is going to be like that. But I wasn't expecting her to admit, even in front of Subaru, like, because like it's barely the sixth episode. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like she admitted it a bit too quickly. Like, she was like, yes, and yeah, I genuinely thought she was going to say something like, yeah, I like him, but I'm not sure if this is that kind of like. So I'm in the process of understanding. I thought she was going to say something like that. No, she directly said like, yes, yes. Right. But you know what? I feel like what the problem will be with Rintaro, because he's probably going to be like, oh, like, am I worthy enough? The whole like, yeah, am I worthy enough? Like that whole thing that a lot of shows like bring up, rom-com shows especially, and especially Rintaro, because Rintaro's whole character, I guess you could say, is where he has not been able, he was not like accepted by a lot of people. People like talked about him behind his back and all that. People judge him by looking at him, especially because of that. I feel like he will have trouble accepting that, oh yeah, I like her, and like he'll probably be thinking about, am I worthy enough, this and that, all those things. Like, I guess in a way you could say that Rintaro, if you think about it like that, Rintaro is a lot like Subaru, like not at that extreme, I guess, like where Subaru literally doesn't love herself and all that. I don't think Rintaro's that extreme, but he has like the similar type of troubles and similar type of um situation. His situation is very similar to Subaru's. Yeah, I think I said this in that episode as well, where we got introduced to Subaru. Like, Rintaro's whole thing is a lot like Subaru. Like, where people judge him by looking at her, similar to Subaru, where people bullied her and judged her by looking at her hair and everything. The only difference is like, like the intensity for Rintaro. At least Rintaro, since he's like big, he's quite tall, and he has like, like his appearance and everything made people scared of him, so they weren't able to directly like talk smack about him in front of his face, because they got scared. But for Subaru, it was worse, because for her, people directly talked smack to her face, and it devolved into more serious situations where they probably like bullied her and harassed her. As for as for Rintaro, that never happened, because people were afraid of him. So, if Rintaro was like a little bit shorter, smaller, Rintaro probably would have gotten probably harassed in a very similar way to Subaru. But the only thing that, like the only reason why he didn't have to face all of that is because he was pretty big. People got scared and look at him and they're like, oh my god, he's gonna beat me up. Yeah, I'll talk smack about him, definitely behind his back, but in front of him, no. He's gonna beat me up. I'm gonna just that happened multiple times. You saw in the very first few episodes, you can see, like, like they were talking smack about him, and then when he was like in front of them, they were like, oh my god, and they got scared and like ran away. Literally, like the first episode where his friends were getting harassed, they were talking mad smack about him, and then Irinta was like behind them, and he's like, what's going on? Are they what's going on here? Like, are they bothering you? And they look back and they look at Rintaro and they're like, oh my god, run. Guys, a few moments ago they were just talking bad stuff about him. As soon as they see him, they run. So that's the difference, and that is why Rintaro's situation didn't devolve to like, the situation that was as bad as Subaru's. For Subaru, it was very bad, as we saw in the flashbacks. So yeah, in that sense, you can say these two are very similar, Subaru and Rintaro. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, I think that was it. And in the ending part, you saw like that little kid also came, who we helped in that place, in that diner, and he was like, "Oh, are you two friends?" Right, and his friends were like, "Oh, are you not scared of talking to him?" And he's like, "Oh no, he's a good guy." Right. Okay. Yeah, and there you go. Now, right. Just a minute. Now, yeah. So yeah, there you go. That was that. Now, I really like the whole section where they were showing Subaru's, like the depiction of Subaru hating herself as like rust. Like, I don't think I've ever seen any. That was rust, right? Or am I tripping? Wait a minute. Those like things. Yeah, those were rust. I don't think I've ever seen any anime like which depicts these type of things as rust. That's a very clever analogy, I think. Because rust is something that kind of what's that word? Corrodes. Yeah, corrodes you. It corrodes you and like kind of makes, like, you kind of like stagnant, like it's something like that. So I don't know, I feel like it's a very clever like depiction of, like Subaru's feeling about herself. It's a very appropriate depiction of that as rust. Like, like you get, like, the rust is something that is just there, like clinging to you, and it's like difficult to take out, because, like obviously rust is very difficult to take out. And that is why it kind of shows how similar that is, because it's very difficult for Subaru to change her opinion about herself, you know and that is why it's a very clever like comparison and analogy, very clever analogy, like kind of representing the dark thoughts about herself as rust is very interesting, because like I said, I've seen a lot of animes doing like analogies like this, like, kind of symbolism and everything. I don't think I've ever seen a show where they depicted this as rust. That is very clever and very unique. I I think, as you can see. Right. Yeah. And yeah, and I agree with, like Kaoruko, because as Kaoruko said that you are just, like you think that you're making stuff bad for me, but for me, like, you've also helped me out in a lot of situations. You've been there from the very beginning with me as my friend, and, whenever I need you, I get you beside me. Like obviously, as Subaru said, like Kaoruko definitely helped her out in a lot of ways, and as she said, like, you're like my hero. But at the same time, because she doesn't love herself, she thinks that she's always dependent on Kaoruko, while, not realizing how Kaoruko also depends on her, like, in a lot of situations. And that's what Kaoruko was trying to tell her. She was like, come on, like these type of situations where I always do stuff not thinking about that much, you are always there behind me helping me out. For example, in the monkey bars where I fell down, you know like those type of situations, you're always there, and you're trying your best to help me out whenever I fall into these type of situations. And you know so whenever I do not think of the actions of the consequences of my actions, and do these type of things, you're always there trying to help me out, you know and you're doing it for me. So you shouldn't blame yourself and say that, oh, I'm making your life bad. I'm the one who are taking these decisions and making my life more difficult. You're just there trying to help me out from that, you know so yeah. And if the whole thing with Rintaro was also something she did thinking about her. She thought that, oh, like Karuko might get into trouble with the teachers, because the teachers also hate the 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 boys from Chidori. That is why you told him to not come and interact with me and talk to me. You weren't doing that just because whatever. You did that for a reason. And yeah, so, you know, like, you're trying to help me out, so it's fine. Right. Okay, there you go. And that is it. That was my reaction to today's episode. Um, all of the things with Kaoruko, Subaru, and Rintaro got cleared up. Everything is okay. Subaru has said that, like, it's fine. Subaru has accepted it. Rintaro has also been able to talk to her directly, and was able to express everything that he wasn't able to in that on that day. Uh, so that's that. And Subaru has also kind of forgiven herself for this situation. Karuko has also talked to Subaru, so Subaru doesn't have any type of guilty feelings in her head. And finally, last but not the least, Subaru has said that When I'll be able to like myself, I will try to be friends with you, with Rintaro and all that. So yeah, that's that. Now all that is left is for Rintaro to talk to his friends. Hopefully that happens next. Alright, and I'll end this video here. Thank you for watching. This was my reaction to The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, episode 6. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, or you haven't subscribed, and comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know. I'll check them out. And that is it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next week with another episode of this show. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.